Online, you can be anyone. I can be a far-right neo-Nazi, but I can also be a jihadist, and I can even be a man who's part of the Incels movement.
Oh, no. So I spent a couple days thinking about how I was going to do this video, because when I first watched it, I just couldn't stop laughing. And then the more I thought about it, I kind of realized it's a little more serious than that, so I'm going to kind of do both, okay? But it's about this woman here who calls herself an Incel Hunter. I'm not sure she calls herself that per se, but I'm going to show you. You're going to see what I'm talking about. This video is an example of when delusion meets narcissism, meets ego, meets misinformation, meets just a complete mess. And I know that may sound a little bit harsh, but honestly, there are times when I do think people need to hear a harsh truth. And this is one of those times, because not only is this video disinformation, it's potentially harmful disinformation. And I don't know if it's dishonesty or ignorance, but it's one of the two. And it's the kind of thing that really does need to be called out and addressed in an honest way. If you watch my channel, you know I don't really like making takedown videos or being mean to people. It's not something that I like to do. But this video might have to be a little bit harsh.
Not be as simple as suggesting he was a lone wolf.
I think it's extremely scary that literally anyone could get caught up in an extremist movement, could get radicalized and exploited by extremist recruiters.
Yeah, like CrossFit.
I'm Julia Ebner, and I'm a researcher looking at far-right radicalization and terrorism. Part of my research is undercover within those groups, and I do these investigations partly because I want to understand better how they operate, because that's how you inform prevention and intervention programs, but also partly because I then work with security services to intercept their communication or to prevent terrorist attacks from happening if I do see something being plotted.
Okay, so you, Julia, I'm sorry, but you are not some super secret, incel spy investigator. Okay, you are not working with international security services, and you are not stopping anything from being plotted. Okay, this is just a massive project of either delusion and or ego. And some of you might be thinking, well, that's not fair, Blue. I mean, you don't know what this woman does. Just wait. Okay, it's worse than you think.
People, and I wanted to get insights, really first-hand insights, and understand what was driving them. When I was younger, I always wanted to become an actress, and I did a few acting trainings, so I guess that was then helpful for being just really just an amateur in pretending to be someone I'm not. But it helped me to for example, to fool neo-Nazi groups or also jihadist groups into thinking that I could be one of them.
So that's her. I'm sorry. So that's her training. That's the training she took to be qualified to be a super spy. She took acting classes. So that's where her skills. That's where she got her training in counterterrorism infiltration comes from going to drama school. Okay.
My research, I went undercover on the one hand with ISIS hacker groups, but also with American neo-Nazis, with German far-right extremists, identitarians and white nationalists, also with misogynist groups, and with conspiracy theory groups such as QAnon.
Okay, hang on. I thought we're talking about incels here. Why are we going on about ISIS and Nazi?
A lot of people wouldn't really make the connection that actually neo-Nazis and far-right extremists are very similar to jihadists in the ways they operate, also in the ways they think, but especially in the ways they use new technologies.
I'm still waiting for her to talk about her secret spying on incels and her secret mission on incels.
I've been interested in the rise of anti-feminism for quite some time, and especially when it manifests itself in targeted hatred against women or especially against feminists. The Manosphere is a loose network of different online subcultures that are all misogynist and united in their anti-feminism.
Okay, no. Okay, this is where I'm going to get serious. Okay, this is what irked me. And this is the kind of disinformation that is so problematic. She just called me a misogynist because she used the word all. She said the Manosphere is a loose connection of communities and they are all misogynistic and united in being anti-feminist. So I suppose she would include the men's rights movement, right, in the Manosphere, I would imagine. But she used the word all. So she's saying that every single group in the Manosphere is misogynistic. Okay, you just can't do that. And that is so uninformed and poorly educated. This is an example of an expert who did no real research whatsoever. They cherry-picked things they wanted to see, and they made their own theories up, and then they wrote about it, and now they're presenting it as if they're doing some huge investigation and some groundbreaking work. No. Okay, that's not what this is whatsoever. When you use the word all, just imagine these sentences. Imagine a sentence that starts with this: all Americans, all white people, all black people, all men, all women. No matter how you finish that sentence, no matter where that sentence goes, you've used the word all. That includes me. So you don't get to say something like that and say, oh, no, but I didn't mean you though. Yes, you did. When you use the word all, that is what you mean. I'm just going to add this because I think for this video it's appropriate. For the probably 100th time I've said this on this channel. The men's rights movement is not misogynistic, okay? We talk about men's issues. That doesn't mean we're against women's rights. And in fact, not only are many MRAs women, there are many women in leadership positions in the men's rights movement. In fact, the most famous MRA in the world is arguably a woman, Cassie Jaye. And if she's not number one, she's certainly one of the most famous in the world, along with Karen Strawn, along with Elizabeth Hobson. So this is just poorly researched disinformation. And the reason why it's harmful is because now people who are trying to learn about whatever incels or men's rights means, and they're going to watch this video, okay, and if they believe it, now they're going to think that men's rights and incels and all these crazy people are all in the same. And that's just not accurate. And it's just, I don't know if it's dishonest or just ignorance, but the effect is the same.
Elliot Rogers was, I would say, the first big case of an incels sympathizer who went on to commit an act of terror.
The nearly 10-minute rampage ended with a final gun battle with sheriff's deputies. In the end, Roger and 6 others were killed.
He became the hero for the whole incels subculture. So he's still cited, his manifesto is still quoted by new perpetrators of the incels movement.
He posted a 141-page manifesto, mostly blaming women for not having sex with him.
He also published a video in which he said that he hates all women, that he wants to take revenge on women for not having sex with him. One example of such an inspirational attack is the Toronto van attacker, who in 2018 went on to commit a van attack against pedestrians, and he also posted a reference to Elliot Rogers online in a Facebook post. And most recently, we've of course had the Plymouth shooting in the UK, where the perpetrator was also inspired by the incels movement. My job is to do research.
And a guy probably got murdered in Baltimore last night for trying to sell yellow tops on Rock's corner. Look, I'm not trying to make light of this. Of course, those things were very tragic stories. But the reality is, if you look at the numbers, okay, it's a very, very tiny fraction of violence around the world. And the reason why those 3 names that she used, those are always the 3 names that people use, those 3 cases, the Brighton shooting, the Toronto van attack, and Elliot Rogers. You know why it's always those 3? Because those are the only 3. In 10 years, those are the only stories that we have of incels doing this. And yes, those things were horrible, okay? But when you take the number, like the total number of victims caused by incels, it's a tiny, tiny fraction of the violence that would happen in the world, even over a single day. Now consider that it's stretched out over like 8 or 9 years, and that's the result. I mean, it's vastly, vastly, vastly less than 1% of 1%. And I'm not saying that it doesn't matter, but it suggests that there's some huge looming incel threat, and it's this major crisis, and that you're doing some groundbreaking international James Bond conspiracy thing, and you're coming up with these reports is ridiculous. Okay, the fact of the matter is, okay, the vast majority of incels are just lonely teenagers going on these online forums for a couple weeks and probably never going back again. Yes, I'm sure there's some crazy stuff out there. It's the world. I'm not denying that stuff exists. I mean, I don't know because I don't hang out in those places. But what I do know is that it's not what the men's rights movement is whatsoever. So it's just, you know why this really, why this annoys me is because this is an example of someone that has a college degree, okay, so it gives them a sense of credibility, and then they start presenting their own theories as if they're absolute concrete fact. And this is something I sometimes do criticize feminists for, is they act like feminist theory is the same as like the laws of physics, and it's not. And I say on my channel, I'm opinionated. I'm biased, right? This is not an objective news channel. Like, I get sometimes people telling me, I get emails saying, hey man, I get my news from you. No, I'm not a news channel. This is an opinion channel. This is not a news channel, okay? This is an opinion channel. These are my subjective opinions. But what I don't do is I don't pretend that what I'm doing is like a scientific fact. I tell you, this is what I think. This is why I think it. And then I often say at the end of videos, tell me what you think in the comments below. And sometimes you guys disagree with me. And that's fine. But I get the sense that Dr. Ebner is the kind of person who would not listen to anyone disagreeing on this. Like, nope, this is how it is. If you don't see it, you're wrong, period. And maybe that's unfair, but that's just the vibe I get. But anyway, let's keep going.
My job is to do research into various different extremist movements on different sides of the ideological spectrum. But as part of this, I often go undercover to expose some of their communication tactics or their recruitment tactics, and to then also inform the wider public, but also the security services or international organizations on how to approach these topics.
Okay, so here we go. Now we're getting back to like the super spy, James Bonds. She went to drama school, so now she's ready to go undercover, incel spy.
For my undercover investigations, I usually have different steps that I follow. Step 1.
Oh no, this is just too good. The list is just wait. Oh my.
Step 1 is to understand what my goal is, what do I want to get out of this. Step 2 is to develop a...
Wait, what is step 1? In your super secret agent spy book, step 1 is asking yourself, what do I want to do? I guess that is step 1 in drama school.
Step 2 is to develop a profile, a credible profile across different social media outlets. That means often spending months to really develop that profile, to make it credible. I sometimes...
Okay, it actually takes about 10 minutes to make a Twitter, or Facebook, or Instagram, but okay.
To really develop that profile, to make it credible. I sometimes think about my own character or that fake character almost like I would think about the character in a novel. But it also means that you...
Boom. Right there. That is exactly what this is. That is exactly why I think this is nothing more than a huge ego trip. She thinks of herself as a character in a novel. That's what this is. Okay? She's a failed actress, and she's still trapped in that Hollywood fame fantasy stage, and I know because I've been there myself. I know. Okay? And that's what this is. This is the grand adventure of Julia Ebner. That's exactly what is so wrong with the whole Instagram generation. Is everybody has to be famous. Everybody has to be a character in a novel. Everybody has to be some secret spy doing all this stuff. No, it's got to stop.
But it also means that you have to invest a lot of time into actually running these different accounts, turning them into something that could be an actual person's account. They want to have several proofs that your Twitter profile isn't just a fake profile, that you have profiles on all of their alternative media, social media outlets.
I also love how her super secret source for incels is literally incels.com or incels.is. I wonder how long it would take me to find it on Google. Oh, well, about 5 seconds.
And then some of the groups have very rigorous vetting procedures. So for example, when I joined a neo-Nazi group in the US, I had to actually submit the test results of a genetic test to prove that I'm white, or to prove that...
She's using a Discord. She's using a Discord as a source. She's actually using a Discord as a super secret source. I wonder if she knows that I'm actually a founding member and current administrator of the largest, not one of the largest, the largest Manosphere Discords in the world right now. So I wonder if she ever infiltrated my group. Or I wonder if she's never even heard my name. I actually don't know which one would be more pathetic. But here's the thing. First of all, any actually Nazi Discord was probably started by the FBI. So you probably infiltrated a group that the FBI started themselves to keep track of people and to attract weirdos and keep, up with what they're doing. But even if they didn't start it, I guarantee you the FBI is aware of things like that. They don't need you to infiltrate and do all this stuff. You're not a spy, okay? You're not. I know you want to be, but that is not what this is. Okay, and actually, you're not helping the problem by posting on the internet, because now, if you really are infiltrating these groups and working with the FBI, you've now just alerted them to that fact. So by putting a screenshot of that group and those usernames, now if you really are infiltrating that group and they watch this video, they're going to be suspicious now. So that's how I know you're not really involved with those people, because anyone actually in the FBI or CIA or whatever would know not to do that.
Step 3 is to learn the language of the community. And it's important to almost learn that language before reaching out to the recruiters or to other members. Because otherwise they would already be suspicious, because they can immediately identify you as an outcomer. An example would be the incels movement, where you have a whole list of terms that they use that you wouldn't know as an outsider. You wouldn't know what a Chad or a Stacy is, or what...
Okay, first of all, literally everybody knows, okay, what Stacy and Chad means. Okay, like everybody. Secondly, if you want to learn incel slang and all the secret language, just spend a few minutes, just spend 10 minutes in any political Twitch stream. Like anyone, doesn't matter. Just pick anyone you want and just spend 10 minutes and read the comments in the chat, and you'll have it all down pretty easily. Funny enough though, actually, I didn't know what Chad meant until somewhat recently, like a couple years ago, but that was still a couple years like after most people were learning about it. And I kept seeing, like, you know, on Reddit, people kept talking about Chad, like everywhere. And I'm like, who's Chad? You know, and I'm one of the top ranking MRAs in the world. So anyway, it goes on, but I don't even know what step we're on right now. It feels like we're on like step like 10 or something, but you know, this annoyed me because this is, and I know Julia Ebner has credentials. I'm aware that she has worked in private security systems before. I'm not going to get too much into it, but the company she worked for shut down, probably because it sucks. But when you do something that is so badly researched and so carelessly harmful, like it's so carelessly putting out to potentially millions of people, because millions of people watch Vice, or used to watch Vice, I should say. When you just put it out there that, oh yeah, just casually, the whole manosphere is misogynistic. They're all misogynists. They're all united in hating women. And without doing any nuance at all, without doing any real research into who MRAs actually are and what we, like literally who we are. Like not just who we are as people, like literally how many women are involved, right? And what we actually believe. And you just casually just throw something out and not only call it research, but walk around like you're some super spy. You know, I promise you, whatever report you're sending to like the FBI or the GIGN or MI5 or CIA or whatever, I guarantee you, they opened them up, they spent about 10 seconds looking at it, and they threw it in the trash. Okay, that's the. I'm sorry, but any idea that the FBI or anyone needs you to do some super secret incel research on Reddit or Discord or whatever these you know, incels.com or whatever it is, okay, it's a fantasy. And I would have just laughed at the video and then just ignored it had you not gone with the angle that all MRAs are misogynistic, or the men's rights movement is misogynistic, and then just blatantly lumped it in with incels. And then, by proxy, kind of lumping us in with ISIS and Nazis on the far right, because by putting ISIS and Nazis on the far right in a video entitled Incels, I'm guessing you're trying to make a connection there. And so by proxy, if you're saying that the incels are connected to MRAs, you're saying that MRAs are by proxy connected to Nazis. So it really annoyed me. Both because of just the poor quality of the research and just the poor quality of the content, but just the laziness of it, the arrogance of it, just the ignorance of it. You know, it just the absolute refusal to do any real learning outside of what you want your views to be. You have your perspective and your opinions, and now you want those to be factual. So you don't really bother learning any facts that might go against that. You just say, nope, this is it, and that's how I'm going to play it. So, you know, I put the original video down below. Tell me what you think in the comments.